On August 9th, 2024, the Huffington Post produced a pretty interesting piece. Kamala Harris proves the most disrespected person in America is still the black woman. It was written by former Baltimore City Prosecutor Marilyn Mosby. Now, Marilyn Mosby is no stranger to controversy. She now has 2 felonies, but that has nothing to do with the article, so I will leave it alone. And the article is, well, it's written pretty good, to be honest, except for one big glaring mistake I'll get into in a minute. But pretty much the article is trying to prove that Kamala Harris is a victim of white supremacy. People are coming after her simply because she's black, simply because she's a woman, and simply because of other things like she's married to a white man. One of my good buddies on here on YouTube, Afro Think Tank, believes that me and other guys are doing the same thing.
Donald Trump is not for black people, and that the Republican Party is a white Christian ethno-national political organization that hides Christian white nationalism and ethno identity. And since you, I don't know, O'Shea, you're in Africa, all right? You don't have to deal with the consequences so much what happens here. I don't know what's going on with you, O'Shea, and the rest of you reasonably smart individuals that think that this is the opportunity to protest and not make a decision that should be a common sense decision to support Kamala Harris, the black woman, right? The black woman, because right now you guys are participating in colorism because it's convenient for you, all right? All you guys are participating in colorism because it's convenient for you, right? Because you're assuming that if there's a woman that does not recognize her blackness.
I can be honest. You do have people who don't want to see Kamala Harris become president because she's a woman or because she has African or black lineage. The thing that's very interesting is that anytime somebody criticizes Kamala Harris based on policy, they will then go back to the fact that, well, you're criticizing a black woman. We've seen this on CNN with Van Jones, other people on CNN. But again, I'll get to that. Let me give an example of Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard is a mayor in the city of Dalton, Illinois. And Tiffany Henyard had no problem winning the primary in 2021 as a black woman. But as we've seen, she's put the village of Dalton in $3.65 million worth of debt. And when it's time to answer for those things, she speaks like this.
Because y'all got false narratives out there and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. All the stuff that y'all did to get people to come to our community, to just diss and down our community. Shame on y'all. Because when I want to attack and take any of y'all seats, I run. I run for the seat. I don't do smear campaigns. I don't do all this mess. It's nonsense. Because at the end of the day, we still got to live in this village. Oh, well, y'all don't live in the village, but we still got to live in the village.
Yes, let's go back and grab onto the trope that, you guys don't want to see a strong black woman win, or you guys don't want to follow a single black mother or a strong black woman. You're attacking me because I'm a black woman. And this is what you're going to continue to see from a lot of guys who just don't really want to talk about the issues of the day. And for me, I'm not dealing with the fact that Kamala Harris is a woman, Kamala Harris is black, and I do find it very interesting that some of you brothers and sisters who are Pan-Africans and pro-blacks are okay with supporting somebody who is interracially married. And we already know how our communities rock. All of a sudden, I see y'all have forgotten y'all's principles, right? And the same guys would have a big issue if it was a black man married to a white woman, but it's okay if Kamala Harris, who y'all are saying is black, is married to the white man. Although you guys are in the pro-black / Pan-African community, let's keep all the blacks together, but it's okay to excuse this particular interracial marriage when you know that's not what you believe as a strong pro-black. But that's okay. We can point out hypocrisies a little bit later. Let's get back to Kamala Harris. People would have an issue with Kamala Harris, not even based on who she's married to. White people would have an objection to Kamala Harris.
The idea that he is trying to say that we have people that are trying to invade our country to commit mass crime is a crisis of his own making. You talk with the people who take an oath to protect our border. And they will tell you the trafficking that is happening of drugs and guns coming into our country, it's happening at ports of entry. We don't need a multi-billion-dollar wall. That wall ain't gonna stop them.
I do not condone or and support any policy that is about picking up, arresting, and detaining undocumented immigrants who have not committed a crime.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Let's deal with the immigration topic alone, okay? People want to know, why are you voting for Trump or for the right? Some people would say Trump is your open enemy and white conservatives are your open enemy. Listen, the Nation of Islam in the 60s and Malcolm X in the 60s had no disagreements with the Ku Klux Klan as far as being separate and still having the same ideas of wanting to be away from each other. That is no different than how I feel about people on the alt-right or extreme Trump supporters or whatever. Immigration hurts African-American communities. We've seen it. We used to be the largest voting bloc in America. We are now 2 or 3. If you didn't get nothing as the number 1 minority, you won't get nothing as the number 2 minority or the number 3 minority. So supporting Kamala Harris, who is a staunch supporter of what? Immigration policies. Again, we already know what happened under the Biden administration. Gays got something, these other groups got something, blacks got nothing. But then again, let's talk about number 2, which is reparations. Where does Kamala Harris stand on reparations?
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
Now, it's very interesting that pro-blacks and Pan-Africans who are so big in the Black community, and a lot of y'all brothers and sisters, you hate racism, you hate white supremacy, and you love reparations or talks about reparations. But the lady just said, I'm not interested in giving you anything in reparations. So how are you guys pro-blacks? How are you guys Pan-Africans? I just don't get it. There is no way you can stand and tell me that somebody can say, we don't want to give you reparations for what happened to you because you're just like an American like everybody else. Okay, if we're just like an American like everybody else, why do we have HBCUs? Why do we have national holidays like Juneteenth? Why do we have Black History Month? Because we are minorities. So then we have a minority candidate who understands our story simply because that person went to Howard University, which is an HBCU, and she got that off the backs of our people. Now she's telling you, now I don't need you guys anymore. You don't deserve that. But then here's another reason why you can't support Kamala Harris, in my honest opinion.
Kamala Harris's comments from her radio interview with The Breakfast Club are sparking controversy.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
and I inhale. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Harris explains her pro-pot stance and admits that she indulged in the substance while in college. Then this exchange happened.
What does Kamala Harris listen to?
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song was it?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac. For sure. For sure.
People quickly jumped on what they saw as a contradiction, given that Tupac and Snoop Dogg were not producing music while she was in college. Harris graduated from Howard University in 1986 and later got her JD from the University of California in 1989. Tupac's debut album, Tupacalypse Now, came out in 1991, and Snoop's first album, Doggy Style, followed a few years later in 1993. So, if you're just listening to this piece on the radio, it sounds like Harris's memory is mixed up. Or maybe she lied about what her stoner jams were in an attempt to sound cool at a time when more and more Democrats, and even a few Republicans, are on board with legal weed.
Kamala Harris graduated Howard University in 1986, went to UC Hastings Law School in 1989. Marilyn Mosby, in her article, made a huge mistake. Let's read it. How is it logical that this colored Howard University Law School graduate who climbed the ranks of public leadership to earn the second highest position in the world could be called dumb as a rock? Well, we might not call her dumb as a rock, but you clearly didn't even look at the law school that she graduated from, which was UC Hastings. Now, if I say that Marilyn Mosby is dumb as a rock because she didn't look at this article before she published it on the Huffington Post, we can't basically call Marilyn Mosby out for making this clear error that is evident for anybody who reads it. But if you call Marilyn Mosby a name, like, wow, you just made a silly mistake. Oh, you're just saying that, how dare you talk to me because I'm a black woman and I suffered through this and that. But was you a black woman when you became the vice president? Were you the black woman when you're Fannie Willis and you're the top prosecutor? That's the thing, there's no accountability. When black women are doing very well and showing that they have the God-given skills to do whatever they want to do, I don't think that many black people, especially black men, are just so uncomfortable with black women doing well. It's something that we're used to. Most of us have been educated by black female teachers. If you go to an HBCU like I did, black female professors, we are used to it. The issue is if you have any criticisms of a black woman because they make a mistake like Marilyn Mosby just did in this article, all of a sudden you have all of these issues, all of these problems. You know, you hate black women and all of this, or you're afraid of black female leadership when you're just dealing with a concept here. And this is what people who are on the left or sympathize with the black left will do. They will take things out of context and try to make something there which clearly is not when you're dealing with a concept. For me, I'm not even really dealing with the fact that she's dealing with a white man or a black man or whatever. I've never even really mentioned that so much, but if you want to talk about Kamala Harris pretending to be African American to try to get the African American vote, she's talking about she listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac, which really is black culture to a T, and you lied about that. The reason why you keep on trying to be close to the African American community is because all you have to offer the African American community is vibes. That's all that you have to offer is vibes, because you don't want to give them anything. So let's give you Meg Thee Stallion twerking. Let's give you all of these little, basically feel good things, just like Obama singing Amazing Grace at the AME church. It's just vibes, all right? Kamala Harris wants to be an African American because if she can do that, she can then become black and not give you anything like Obama didn't. And so now you have all these people coming after like black Republicans or black conservatives or people who think differently. Could even be a black Democrat who don't even like Kamala Harris. It's just get back on the train and get nothing, and what you've been getting for the last 60 years from these guys who were just nothing. And if you want to side with the Trump supporters or whatever else because they want to stop immigration, which Kamala Harris was on that train with Biden, have we not forgotten? Have we not forgotten all the African Americans that were displaced in Chicago or New York City, or who had to use their tax funding for people that didn't care about them, or some of the immigrants or migrants who committed crimes? Like, why are we not being serious here? Why is this such a joke? Why is this so laughable? And this is what I'm talking about. It's anything to excuse errors in black female leadership in this case, or black male leadership. It doesn't really matter. It's the same thing as the pastor who gets caught in the black church with his pants down, with, his black woman in the bed or the black man in the bed or whatever, and somebody comes out and says, touch that now my anointed, do my prophet no harm. This is the same thing. The reality is that a lot of people could be calling Kamala Harris names. But then the issue that I have is for the people who are not calling her names and dealing with the issues of the day, like her funding campaign website has no particular agenda for people or the black community at all, but people are still giving money. When you call that out, now you're lumped in to the people that are insulting her because you don't want to vote for her because she's a female, when you're not even talking about that. That's not even the point, and it's irrelevant to the conversation. The conversation is, where does she stand on X, Y, and Z issue as it refers to black America or to pro-blacks? And then you have pro-blacks and Pan-Africans who have completely forgot their life's work because they want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's black and a woman, or because they hate Donald Trump. But then at the same time, they're going to excuse this interracial interracial relationship when we all know that hardcore pro-blacks and Pan-Africans do not really appreciate interracial marriages, especially when it comes to black men or black women, but we can go ahead and give it a pass this time. That's hypocritical. And that, for me, is just as hypocritical as Marilyn Mosby, who made this statement in this article, who made a mistake, and if you call her out for making a mistake, then you also hate black women too. Why can't we just have a discussion about the exact issues of what people are talking about when it comes to Kamala Harris and her past? That's all we're talking about, her past issues with Black America. All of these other things are unimportant, although you guys mention it as reasons as to why people object to support her, when that is not the issue for everyone. For some people, that could be the issue, and I will pretty much agree to that. I'm not even trying to fight that part. But don't throw everybody in that particular ballpark when that's not what everybody is saying in Black America. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of King Ghana. I'm out.